Heartwarming moment, billionaire exposed to incredible revelation of unexpected child on flight. Alex Thompson boarded the plane with the weight of the world on his shoulders. A self-made billionaire known for his ruthlessness, the opulence around him now felt stark and hollow. Today, he was heading back to his suburban hometown in Illinois for a charity event, a place he had escaped years ago in relentless pursuit of wealth. As he sank into his first-class seat, the thrill of his extravagant lifestyle faded, replaced by a gnawing emptiness. He had made billions but lost something far more precious: his connection to family and roots. Seated next to him was Sarah, a bright-eyed woman in her early 30s with an infectious smile that somehow lit up the entire cabin. Accompanied by her spirited 8-year-old son, Ethan, she was a striking contrast to Alex's cold, corporate demeanor. A friendly mix-up in seating arrangements turned into spontaneous laughter as they shared snacks. Ethan, with his boundless energy, whipped out a bag of gummy bears, offering them to Alex with innocent enthusiasm. Sarah watched their interaction, her heart a little lighter, enjoying the warmth of human connection. As Sarah opened up, sharing her struggles as a single mother, Alex felt drawn into her world. She spoke of sleepless nights and dreams held together by unwavering determination. Every word she spoke was filled with resilience, painting a vivid picture of love, hope, and a world that leaned heavily on community. In that moment, Alex realized how cold his world had become. He missed genuine conversation, the softness of shared laughter. Curiosity bubbled up in Ethan. With a stray glance at Alex's designer suit and the name engraved on his wristwatch, he turned to his mother, whispering loudly, "Mom, is that a billionaire?" The statement echoed through the cabin, creating a ripple of gasps and murmurs from nearby passengers. Alex felt the heat rise in his cheeks as he smiled awkwardly. The sweet innocence of the situation tugged at his heartstrings. But just as he began to embrace the unexpected warmth of their connection, Sarah's voice trembled as she unleashed a truth that rocked Alex's very foundation. "Ethan might be your son," she said, her eyes brimming with both fear and defiance. The world around him blurred as his heart raced. He saw flashes of a youth he had buried in lavish parties and reckless decisions. Could it be true? The chapter of his life he had locked away suddenly shattered before him. "What do you mean?" he whispered, almost too afraid to ask. Sarah's expression hardened, a mix of vulnerability and fierce independence. She made it clear she would never accept help from a man like him. The tension crackled in the air, electric and raw. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As they exchanged words, the rest of the cabin leaned in, an audience intrigued by the unfolding drama. Hushed whispers of support filled the space, amplifying the turmoil in Alex's heart. Each moment felt like a page turning. In the depths of the chaos, a flicker of something profound emerged. Could he break away from the shackles of his past mistakes and step into the role he never knew he was meant to play? With his heart racing and sweat gathering on his brow, Alex mulled over a sudden thought. What if he organized a local event supporting single parents? A way to reclaim some good amidst this chaos and honor a possible son he had never acknowledged. As the plane descended toward their destination, the world felt different. The turbulence inside him mirrored the clouds flashing outside. Then, in an innocent yet powerful gesture, Ethan reached out for him. "Can you be my dad?" A question that hung heavy in the air, a lifeline to a future that beckoned. In that heartbeat, Alex was at a crossroads. All his wealth and power screamed against the vulnerability of family, leaving him grappling with a reality he had long avoided. Alex felt the weight of Ethan's innocent question like 1,000 pounds pressing down on his chest. The world outside rushed by, but in that moment, everything else faded. The chatter of other passengers, the whirring engines, even the spiraling clouds outside the window. It was just him and the little boy beside him, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of the moment. For a split second, he considered laughing it off as a child's whimsy. But he couldn't. Something deep inside him stirred. I don't know, Alex finally said, his voice barely a whisper. He felt exposed, like the cornered animal he sometimes felt. He had become a creature caught between instincts to flee and the desperate desire to connect. Ethan's eyes sparkled with naive hope, yet they held a depth that struck Alex hard. But you're rich. You could buy me a cool bicycle and take me to places I've never been. The child's words bounced around Alex's mind, both charming and crushing under the weight of truth. Sarah watched their exchange, intuition firing on all cylinders. She could see the conflict knitting Alex's brow and the silver glint of vulnerability in his sharp features. Ethan, she began gently, but Alex cut her off. No, it's okay, he said, regaining some composure. I'm just not sure how to be a dad. The confession spilled out, raw and unpolished, almost surprising him. It felt like he was speaking aloud a secret he had never voiced, even to himself. I can help you, Ethan exclaimed, his voice filling with enthusiastic innocence that made Alex want to smile even amidst the chaos churning within him. You just have to be there, like, when I get home from school, or help me with homework. You can bring candy for me and my friends. It'll be fun. Alex blinked back sudden tears that threatened to overflow. Fun? He thought of his lavish escapades, of exotic vacations and fine dining that felt more like chains than joys. The idea of simple moments, homework, laughter, and candy sounded like the very definition of richness he had been missing. Ethan, Alex's voice cracked. Words faltered as he was pulled into a past he had thought long buried. I wasn't there, you see. I don't care. Ethan interrupted, his voice small but firm. You can be here now. Sarah watched, her heart sagging a little as she sensed the struggle within Alex. She admired his wealth, but wealth came with its own set of shackles. She refused to carry the burdens of the past into the future of their potential family. The plane finally landed with a soft thud, pulling them from the haze of their conversation. The seatbelt sign flickered off, and suddenly it was time to move. Alex shook his head as if snapping out of a dream, but the reality of what Sarah had disclosed rushed back. Ethan might be his son, but it wasn't just about being a dad. It was the life he had built that clashed with this new possibility. As he stood to gather his belongings, Alex felt more lost than ever. Sarah and Ethan descended the aisle in front of him, and he hesitated, torn between following them and escaping into the anonymity of the airport. But that innocent voice called out again. Mr. Billionaire. Ethan turned back, mischief sparkling in his eyes. Are you coming to the event? You can be my dad there. The comment hung in the air like an invitation unwrapped, a door barely ajar leading into a future he never anticipated. Alex's heart raced, a daring part of him wanted to say yes, to embrace this strange turn of fate. As they stepped onto the crowded jet bridge, Alex took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of change in the air. What if I did? He thought, contemplating a world beyond wealth, a world that could revolve around family, but just before he spoke again, a sudden doubt clawed at him, a rich man facing the sheer depth of responsibility. Would he really step into this role, or would he pull back into the shadows of his solitary life? Are you ready for a new life, Alex? He whispered to himself, feeling the answer holding its breath just beyond reach. Would he choose to bridge the old and the new, or would he retreat? The moment of truth loomed large, buzzing with uncertainty. Alex had never faced anything like this before, but one thing was clear: tomorrow awaited him with open arms, filled with impossible choices and the chance for redemption. And as Ethan smiled back at him, Alex knew he had to decide: was he going to step through that door? Alex's heart continued to pound as he stepped off the jet bridge, trailing behind Sarah and Ethan, who were chatting excitedly about the event they were headed to. The airport was bustling with travelers, each lost in their own worlds, but his mind was occupied with visions of bicycles and homework help. The idea was both terrifying and exhilarating. A stifling thought crept in. Who am I to accept this role? I've never even tried to be a father, he mused, feeling overwhelmed. He had built an empire of wealth, but wealth couldn't buy moments or memories. As they walked, he glanced down at Ethan, whose small hand was holding onto the edge of his jacket. That simple act ignited a fire within him, a longing to be someone different, someone better. Uncle Alex. Ethan chimed, tugging on his sleeve. Do you think I'll get a trophy if I win the race at the event? His eyes were wide with anticipation. All Alex could do was nod, remembering the last trophy he'd earned was years ago in a different life entirely. They emerged into the bright and airy terminal. Colorful banners hung from the ceilings, celebrating the charity event they were attending, and voices of laughter and joy thrummed around them. Sarah delicately navigated through the sea of people, seemingly at ease amidst the chaos. But Alex felt lost, as if he were treading water just trying to keep his head above. Suddenly, Sarah turned to him, her eyes searching his. "Alex," she said gently, "this is your chance to connect. You don't have to be perfect, just be there for him." He wanted to agree, to let her words wash over him like a bomb, but doubt gripped him. What do I even know about being a dad? He thought. The event was hosted in a spacious hall, elegantly decorated with twinkling lights that sparkled like stars against the dusk settling outside. Alex felt an odd pang of nostalgia. The splendor felt oddly reminiscent of countless galas he had attended, but this one was different. This one had Ethan at its center, a small figure glowing with potential. "Look, Mr. Billionaire." Ethan pointed at a large banner. "That S for the kids' race. I want to run really fast." His excitement was contagious, and Alex felt a smile pull at his lips. Despite his apprehension, Ethan's enthusiasm was a lighthouse guiding him away from the storm of his worries. As people began to gather for the event, Alex found a moment of stillness amidst the chaos. He watched Ethan interact with other children, laughing freely and sharing stories, his innocence a stark contrast to the carefully curated conversations of the adults surrounding them. Something shifted within Alex. Could he step into this world without the shadows of his past? "Are you going to be my dad today?" Ethan's question popped up again, echoing in Alex's mind. A million uncertainties swirled around him, tightening his chest, but behind them lay a flicker of hope. Maybe today would be the beginning of something new, a path paved away from the gilded cage he had built for himself. I think so," Alex finally replied, feeling brave enough to say the words aloud. The latent possibility wrapped around him like a comforting cloak. He watched Ethan's face light up, and something inside him unlocked. For the first time, it felt possible to break through his fears, to embrace the messy beauty of being a dad. But as the moment settled, a nagging question lingered: could he truly maintain this new path? And as the event kicked off with laughter and celebrations, Alex stood at the edge, feeling the weight of his decision. What if my past catches up with us? He pondered, uncertainty nagging at him still. He took a deep breath, ready to dive in, just as he noticed a familiar face in the crowd. Is that really? He squinted into the sea of people, dread creeping in. What's he doing here? The unexpected interlude stirred something in him, as he braced for the unknown. Would this person threaten everything he had just begun to build? Alex's pulse quickened as he scanned the crowd for the face that had emerged from his past. The laughter and chatter faded into a distant hum. He barely recognized the gray-haired man pushing his way through the throng of children and families. It was Daniel, an old rival from his corporate days, someone he thought he'd never have to confront again in any capacity. Unbelievable, Alex muttered under his breath, uncertainty washing over him. He wasn't prepared to deal with the chaos that might ensue. The dreams he held, the chances he was beginning to take with Ethan, all felt at risk of crashing down around him. Ethan was still captivated by the decorations and the buzz of the event, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just a few feet away. "Uncle Alex, look!" he shouted, pointing to a clown juggling colorful balls. His innocent glee cut through Alex's anxiety, but the knot in his stomach tightened. "Yeah, buddy, that's awesome," Alex replied, fighting to keep his voice steady. He was torn between wanting to protect Ethan from the uncertainty that looming figures like Daniel brought, and stepping into the role of a father he had committed himself to only moments ago. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked, looking up at him with wide, curious eyes. His reliance on Alex felt both comforting and terrifying at once. "Nothing, buddy," Alex said, forcing a smile. "Just a friend from work." He prayed the right words would come to him, that he could shield the boy from his complex world that had never seemed compatible with the warmth of family. Just then, Daniel approached, his expression mixed with genuine surprise and something harder to read. "Alex. Didn't he expect to see you here," he said smoothly, as if they were old friends catching up, rather than old foes standing on shaky ground. "Yeah, it's, a charity event," Alex replied, trying to sidestep the conversation. But Daniel wasn't ready to let him off that easily. "Interesting choice for a billionaire," he chuckled, glancing at Ethan. "And who's this little guy?" Alex's stomach sank. "This is my nephew, Ethan." The words felt foreign, but with each utterance, they started to solidify his new identity. "Nice to meet you, Ethan," Daniel said, crouching to be at eye level, his demeanor been completely different than Alex had expected. He was disarmingly charming, a trait that had once helped him clinch major deals against Alex. "I bet you're excited for the race." "Yeah. I want to win a trophy," Ethan replied, beaming with enthusiasm, his innocence alight in the murky waters of the adult world. Alex's heart ached, caught in a tug-of-war between past grievances and present hopes. "Listen, Daniel," I really don't think he began, but Daniel cut him off, his tone shifting. "You don't have to banter. We both know what happened, Alex," he said, glancing back to Ethan, who was now distracted by the clown again. "You walked away from a lot. There's no point in pretending otherwise." That truth hung in the air, heavy and unyielding. Alex felt exposed, as if his deepest fears of failure and judgment had been laid bare. Ethan returned to Alex's side, pulling on his sleeve again. "Can we go see the trophies now?" There was an innocence in the question, a simple request that made Alex's heart swell. Slowly, he nodded, but his eyes remained locked on Daniel. "Yeah, let us go." As they headed off to the trophies, an unease simmered beneath Alex's skin. Daniel's presence was not only a reminder of his past but also a possible revelation that could shatter the fragile bond he was trying to build with Ethan. What would he say if he revealed Alex's secrets? How could Alex protect the new life he was beginning to forge? Just then, as the family excitement swirled around them, Daniel's voice called back, "I hope you're ready to face the consequences of your choices, Alex." The words stung, like a promise veiling a threat. Alex inhaled deeply, holding on tight to Ethan's hand. He could feel the warmth of that small grip, grounding him amidst the crashing waves of anxiety and doubt. But could he keep this part of his life separate from the echoes of his past? In that moment, he realized that the path he was treading was not just new, it was riddled with challenges. As his mind raced with thoughts of what was to come, one question loomed. If Daniel knew everything, could Alex still be the man Ethan needed him to be? The sound of laughter and cheering filled the air, creating an unsettling backdrop as Alex navigated through the crowded fairgrounds. He felt the weight of Daniel's words hanging over him like a dark cloud. Each step felt heavier, a reminder of the past he had tried so hard to leave behind. "Uncle Alex, look! A big bear!" Ethan's excitement sliced through the tension, and Alex found a momentary comfort in his nephew's joy. The large, furry mascot waved and danced, drawing a group of kids around it. "Yeah, let us go see it," Alex said, forcing a smile, trying to push aside the anxiety swelling within him. But with every beat of his heart, he could feel the underlying threat of Daniel's presence lingering like an unwanted shadow. As they approached the bear, Ethan's laughter was infectious. Alex watched the way his nephew's eyes sparkled in pure delight, and it reminded him exactly why he was here. He was fighting for this kid, for a future that was worth digging deeper for. They crowded around the mascot, and Ethan eagerly hugged its fluffiness. Alex smiled wider, his heart softening against the steel walls he had built, but in the back of his mind, Daniel's voice echoed, "You walked away from a lot." The words haunted him. What had he sacrificed? What had he chosen instead? "Uncle Alex, can we take a picture?" Ethan asked, tugging on his arm again, his bright face illuminated with happiness. The innocence in his voice was as infectious as the laughter around them. "Sure thing, buddy." As he fumbled with the phone, his fingers shook slightly. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. This was what mattered. Capturing these fleeting moments of joy with Ethan made everything else dim in comparison. Just as he snapped the photo, a chill raced down his spine. He felt a presence behind him. Turning slowly, he spotted Daniel standing there, arms crossed, a half-smirk playing on his lips. The world around them seemed to blur, and suddenly it was just the three of them. "Nice picture, Alex." Really, Daniel's tone was laced with mockery as he leaned casually against the wooden fence, an outsider in a place that held so much promise for Alex. "Want to capture the moment while you can?" Alex clenched his jaw to suppress a surge of anger. It was a delicate balance protecting Ethan from Daniel's toxic words while not losing his self-control. "I think it's a moment worth keeping," he shot back, his voice low but firm. Ethan, not catching the tension, chimed in, "Can Uncle Daniel join us for a picture?" His innocence bathed the situation in warmth, the blissful aura of a child who saw potential for friendship where there was only rivalry. Alex hesitated, his stomach sinking as he glanced at Daniel, who was smirking now. "Yeah, let us get one," the rival replied, his bravado smooth as silk. As they posed for the photo, Alex felt trapped in his own past, the dichotomy of their lives clear against Ethan's bright spirit. Daniel's arm draped over Ethan's shoulder felt wrong, the closeness tainted by everything Alex had fought against. He wondered if moments like this could be overshadowed by shadows of doubt and shame. Once the camera clicked, Alex stepped back quickly, placing himself between Daniel and Ethan. "We should go check out the trophies now, don't you think?" "Okay," Ethan exclaimed, oblivious to the simmering tension around him. As they moved away, Alex kept a firm grip on Ethan's hand, almost desperate to maintain the integrity of their bond. "I'm proud of you, buddy," he said, looking down at Ethan, who skipped eagerly ahead. "Thanks, Uncle Alex." Ethan turned, his face lit up with joy. But in the corner of Alex's mind, Daniel's implication echoed once more. Each choice would have its consequences. They rounded a corner and Ethan shouted, "Look, there's a trophy." The trophy stood tall on a pedestal, shimmering under the bright lights. But just as they reached it, a soft voice called out from behind them, "Excuse me, is this your nephew?" Startled, Alex turned to see a woman approaching, her face a stark reminder of another life altogether. It was as if history was determined to catch up to him every step of the way. What could this mean? Suddenly, the safety of the moment shifted, the air felt thick with uncertainty. Would he have to explain who he really was? What parts of his past were about to unravel in front of Ethan? His heart raced, the stakes becoming clearer. And as he stood there, balancing between past and present, he couldn't shake off the feeling. The walls he had built around himself were beginning to crack. Would this woman reveal something he wasn't ready for? What truths would surface now? The woman stepped closer, her features coming into focus under the glowing fairground lights. Alex recognized her instantly. It was Sarah, the one person from his past he had tried to forget. Her warm smile felt like a jolt of electricity, and for a moment, he couldn't breathe. "Sarah?" he managed, and his voice cracked, betraying the calm he desperately tried to maintain. "Alex," she said, surprise lacing her tone. "I didn't expect to see you here. It's been a long time." Ethan swung around, eyes wide with curiosity. "Uncle Alex, do you know her?" Alex hesitated, each word slipping through his mind like sand. He felt like he was stumbling through a minefield, aware of how easily he could explode his carefully constructed life. "Yeah, buddy. Kind of an old friend." "Old friend?" Sarah raised an eyebrow, clearly not buying the casual label. "More like an old flame, isn't it?" The teasing note in her voice set off alarm bells in Alex's head. The last thing he wanted was for his history with Sarah to cast a shadow on his relationship with Ethan, or worse, create questions that he wasn't ready to answer. "Let us not get into that right now," he said, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace, as he rubbed Ethan's shoulder. "We were just looking at trophies." "Oh, trophies. I love trophies," Ethan exclaimed, bouncing on his heels, oblivious to the tightening tension. "Maybe I could help with that?" Sarah suggested, her eyes catching Ethan's excitement like fire on kindling. I don't think that's necessary," Alex interjected quickly. He wanted to keep Ethan safe, but he also knew that the kindness in Sarah's voice was genuine. Those were the moments when the past became blurred, and it was hard to remember why they had drifted apart. Forcing normalcy, Alex turned and walked ahead, Ethan in tow. He glanced back to gauge Sarah's reaction. There was a flicker of hurt in her eyes, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. As they approached a display of shimmering trophies, the sound of laughter and chatter faded into a dull hum. Alex felt Ethan's excitement bubble over as he pointed out a trophy of a golden star. "Look, Uncle Alex. Let's take a picture next to that one." "Sure, bud," Alex replied, heart rate still elevated. He wanted nothing more than to focus on Ethan, but the weight of Sarah's presence lingered behind him, a specter that wouldn't disappear. They snapped a photo as Ethan grinned from ear to ear, holding up the trophy. The innocence of the moment felt so pure, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that the world was watching, waiting for a crack that could expose his imperfections. "Uncle Alex?" Ethan's voice broke through his thoughts. "Do you think we can win a trophy one day?" Alex crouched down to meet his nephew's gaze. "You bet we can, kiddo. You just have to keep trying your best." Ethan nodded eagerly, and for the briefest moment, everything felt right. But as they turned to leave the display, Alex could feel someone watching him and turned to find Sarah again, standing just a few steps away. "Alex, wait," she called, her expression softening. "I just wanted to sorry, I can't do this right now," he snapped, the words spilling out before he could stop himself. Ethan's wide eyes darted between them, the confusion palpable. "Why can't we just talk for a second?" Sarah pressed, her voice tinged with urgency. "Because it's not just us anymore." He shot back, the frustration boiling up. "Uncle Alex? Who is she?" Ethan asked, his innocent question piercing through the tension like a knife. Alex's heart sank. The last thing he wanted was for Ethan to feel divided. "She's someone from my past, and it's complicated." Sarah's face fell, and Alex saw something break in her eyes. Complicated? Or just uncomfortable? Suddenly, a whisper of doubt settled in. Maybe it wasn't just uncomfortable. Was he hiding too much from Ethan? "Come on, Ethan, let us go check out the rides," he said, urgency pushing him forward. But as they walked away, he could feel Sarah's gaze burning into his back, a reminder that the past could rise up at any moment. Where would these revelations lead? What more did she know about him that could change everything? As he glanced back one last time, anxiety coiling in his stomach, he couldn't shake the feeling that another truth was lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to come out. Would he be ready to face it when it did? The rides loomed ahead, colorful and inviting, but Alex felt an invisible barrier between him and the joyfulness that should have been surrounding them. He pushed the worry away just as Ethan tugged at his sleeve, pulling him toward the carousel. "Look, Uncle Alex. Can I ride the horse?" Ethan's excitement was contagious, and Alex couldn't help but smile at the sheer glee in his nephew's eyes. "Absolutely," he replied, masking the storm inside him. As they approached the carousel, the whimsical music played a soft tune that contrasted sharply with the knot in his stomach. Ethan hopped onto a majestic white horse, his fingers gripping the pole tightly, radiating delight. Alex watched, a bittersweet smile on his face. He wanted to be present, to savor this moment, but Sarah's image loomed in his mind, replaying their conversation over and over. "Uncle Alex, look at me!" Ethan shouted, his laughter ringing as the carousel spun. Alex felt warmth swell in his chest, mingled with worry. Could he really keep Ethan shielded from the shadows of his past? He snapped a few pictures, capturing the pure joy on Ethan's face. It was almost surreal, the feeling of normalcy almost hiding the chaos beneath. Each click of the camera felt like a reminder of what he had fought so hard to build. As the ride slowed, Ethan jumped off, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "That was awesome. Let us do it again." "Sure thing, buddy," Alex chuckled, feigning enthusiasm. Yet, he couldn't shake the weight of Sarah's gaze, nor the realization that this was just a temporary escape. They wandered away from the carousel, heading toward the food stalls, but Alex found himself looking for Sarah, almost subconsciously. He hoped she'd vanished back into whatever chapter of the past she belonged to. After all, wasn't that the point of moving on? We should get some cotton candy. Ethan shouted, pulling Alex towards a vibrant stall. The sugary smell enveloped them, and for a moment, the innocence of childhood filled the air. Okay, one for you and one for me, but no sharing, Alex joked, kneeling to make their order. Ethan giggled, bouncing from one foot to the other as Alex handed over cash, trying to refocus his thoughts, but as they turned to find a spot to enjoy their treat, Sarah appeared again. Her presence sent a jolt through him, as she just stood there, a mixture of hope and trepidation written across her face. Alex, please, I know this is awkward, but we need to talk, she said, her eyes pleading. Ethan's gaze darted between them, his small brows furrowing in confusion. Uncle Alex, is she your friend? Alex could feel the world tilt on its axis. She's just someone I used to know, he stumbled over his words, irritation bubbling just below the surface. Used to know? Are you hiding stuff from me? Ethan asked, innocence laced with the weight of a genuine inquiry. No. Can we just step aside, please? Sarah interjected, intensity in her voice that made Alex's heart race. I swear it's important. The vibrant fairground blurred around him. Alex could feel the tightness in his chest rising again. He wasn't prepared for this. Not now, not here. He wanted a simple day with Ethan, laughter, cotton candy, and nothing that could unravel his neatly packaged life. Please, Sarah urged, this time softer. Alex looked down at Ethan, who swiped a piece of cotton candy, oblivious to the heaviness in the air. The urgency in Sarah's eyes was undeniable. She wasn't going to back down. With his heart racing, Alex's mind wrestled. Was this how it would start? An unwelcome confrontation at a fairground, a lifetime of past mistakes threatened to burst into his present? Okay, just 10 minutes, he finally relented, feeling the ground beneath him shift. The stakes went higher as they retreated a few steps back, tension interwoven with curiosity, his mind racing with questions. What did she have to say that was so urgent? As they stood there, unresolved emotions swirling, he knew he was about to step back into a chapter he thought he had closed. Would the revelations change everything in ways he couldn't predict? Ethan spun around, watching the bright lights dance against the dusk sky, oblivious to the storm brewing between Alex and Sarah. Alex felt a strange sadness wash over him. How could he provide a sense of stability to the little boy beside him when his own life felt anything but secure? How've you been? He finally asked, trying to keep his voice steady. It sounded weak even to his own ears. I've been, okay, Sarah replied, her eyes flashing with a mixture of affection and regret. She ran a hand through her hair, the street lamps casting soft shadows on her face. Life has been crazy, but I do like to think I'm getting by. I miss a lot about this place. Her words struck a chord in him, and an old, familiar ache surfaced. A part of him still wanted the connection they once had, but another part screamed to stay buried, sealed tight. Yeah, well, time moves on. You know that, he said, trying to sound casual. How's the school? The kids? Still teaching. You? Mostly the same. Just workin', Ethan, you know. A glance toward his nephew revealed Ethan still enjoying the cotton candy with his eyes fixed on a nearby magician entertaining a group of children. It grounded Alex in a reality he desperately wanted to keep protected. Alex, we really can't avoid this anymore. There are things you don't know, things you should know. What things? What's so urgent that it can't wait? Panic twisted in his gut. She closed the distance between them, lowering her voice. It's about the divorce, the things we didn't talk about and the choices we both made. Things that were left unsaid. He shook his head. We agreed to leave it in the past, Sarah. It's better this way. Ethan turned back toward them, curious. What are you guys talking about? Is everything okay? A flicker of guilt crossed Sarah's face, but she held steady, glancing between both men. Everything's fine, Ethan. Just a little chat. Yeah, Alex echoed, ruffling Ethan's hair. Nothing to worry about. The light-hearted banter felt like a flimsy facade. Alex was keenly aware of the weight of what lay ahead. He had shielded Ethan from so much already. The last thing he wanted was for past mistakes to creep back in and shatter their little world. So what is it? He pressed, urgency creeping back into his voice. Just tell me. Please, can we sit down somewhere? As Alex looked around, he felt barriers closing in. He betrayed his unease with a slight nod, leading her to a nearby bench just beyond the fluttering lights of the fairground. Ethan followed, still lapping at his sugary treat, seemingly unaware of the tension. Okay, he exhaled heavily as they settled onto the bench, his pulse thundering in his ears. What is going on? I didn't just disappear, Alex. I had my reasons. I tried to reach out, but it was never at the right time. Now, I can't carry this anymore. I have to tell you the truth. The world around them faded as Alex held his breath. Sarah's sincerity cracked through the defenses he had erected like walls around his heart. What kind of truth could possibly turn their lives upside down? I didn't want to keep it from you, but I had to think about Ethan. Ethan, blissfully unaware of the emotional exchange, suddenly spoke up. Can you hurry? I want to see more magic tricks. Ethan, sweetie, we'll be done in a minute, Alex said, his voice softer now. He turned to Sarah, urgency in his chest. What truth? In that moment, as tension buzzed like static, he sensed a shift, the kind of revelation that would change everything. Could the shadows of their past collide with the bright future he hoped to build with Ethan? Alex, what I'm about to say, but before she could finish, the music from the fairground swelled, and the air crackled with uncertainty. Hearts poised on the brink of revelation, they teetered toward the unknown. What would Sarah reveal next? Would it shatter his fragile world, or could it mend what had been broken? Alex, what I'm about to say, Sarah's voice trembled as she took a deep breath, her eyes searching his for the right words. Just then, Ethan broke the moment, his little hand pulling at Alex's sleeve. Is this a magic trick, too? Ethan asked, eyes wide with anticipation, blissfully unaware of the weight pressing down on the adult's shoulders. The innocence in Ethan's voice twisted like a knife in Alex's gut. He smiled down at him, but inside, a storm brewed. No, buddy, not quite. But maybe something just as surprising. Then can we hurry? I want to see the man in the hat make a bunny appear. Just a moment, kiddo, Alex said, ruffling Ethan's hair. He turned back to Sarah, the urgency in his chest intensifying. Please, just tell me. Okay, she met his gaze, and for an instant, Alex felt hope mingle with dread. You remember how we always talked about having kids? What does that have to do with anything? He asked, forcing a steadiness into his voice. Alex, it's about Ethan. I didn't have the courage to say it before, but, he's your son. Time froze around them. The fairground lights flickered, and the laughter of children faded into the background, replaced by an echoing silence that sat heavy in the air. What? The word came out as a whisper, barely escaping his lips. Sarah's expression grew heavy with emotion. It's true. I didn't never meant to keep it from you, but my mind was a mess back then. I thought it would be for the best, but now, with everything, he deserves to know you, to have you in his life. Alex's hands went clammy as he processed her words. Every memory of their time together flooded back, tainted by this new understanding. You can't be serious. When did you write after the divorce? I was scared. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought you'd hate me. Her voice cracked, and he saw tears glimmer in her eyes. But I see now that wrong choices don't fix anything. It's just left us both in a mess of secrets. He felt a rush of anger and hurt mixing with disbelief. So you just what, let me believe he was just your nephew? His voice rose, but he caught it before it spiraled too far. All this time I thought I was protecting him, protecting you both from my life. And that's why I've come back now. Sarah leaned closer, her voice dropping. I want to try and make things right. I didn't want you to be blindsided anymore. He's your son, Alex, and he needs to know you. Ethan, still blissfully unaware, tugged again at his uncle's sleeve. Can we go see the bunny now? The sight of Ethan, so innocent and joyful, clashed with the torrent of revelations crashing around Alex. His heart ached, for the boy who needed his love and support, and for the realization of everything that had been lost in the chaos of their decisions. A whirlwind of emotions roared within him. Could he possibly embrace this new life? Would he be able to step into a role he never knew was waiting for him? Alex finally managed, kneeling down to meet his nephew's eager eyes. I need to talk to your mom for just a second. No. I want the bunny. Ethan pouted, crossing his arms defiantly. Just a moment, buddy, Alex said softly, turning back to Sarah, the shadow of uncertainty falling between them once more. This changes everything. I need time to process this. Just think about it, Alex, Sarah responded, her voice weaving through his thoughts. You can't turn your back on this. On him. His heart raced. Could he handle this? Was he ready to embrace a truth that not only shifted his own life but brought a fierce connection he had no idea existed? And in that breathless moment between a past of uncertainty and a future filled with possibility, Alex knew he stood on the edge of a choice that would ultimately reshape their lives. What happens now? He whispered, completely lost. The answer lay before them, promising to bring everything crashing together or tearing them apart again. The question lingered, heavy in the air, waiting for resolution amidst the magic and chaos of the night. Alex sat on the bench, the vibrant chaos of the fairground buzzing around him. The laughter of children and the melodies from the rides felt distant and muted. His world had shifted under the weight of Sarah's revelation. Ethan stood a few feet away, tugging at the hem of his cotton candy with eager anticipation, unaware that everything had changed in the blink of an eye. Alex, Sarah said softly, her voice trembling, this is not just about us anymore. Ethan needs you. He closed his eyes for a moment, trying to breathe through the whirlwind of emotions. The idea of being a father was so foreign to him. He had spent years running away from family, refusing to make meaningful connections. Yet here was Ethan, bright and full of life, a literal part of him he never knew existed. He opened his eyes, searching Sarah's face for clarity. You expect me to just step up after all this time? I don't even know how to start. The frustration spilled over. Wasn't it too late? You let me believe he was your nephew, Sarah. I missed everything. I was scared of your reaction. Scared it would push you away for good, she said, her gaze steady but pleading. But now we can do better. I truly believe you're capable of being the dad he needs. But how could he be? Would his past failures overshadow this beautiful chance? He looked back at Ethan, his heart breaking at the thought of the boy feeling abandoned yet again. What if I mess up? He asked quietly, almost to himself. You won't know unless you try, Sarah replied gently. You're already here. That's a start. Alex felt a rush of warmth at her encouragement. The fear still lingered, but there was a flicker of hope too. Could accepting Ethan mean healing for them all? He was tired of feeling like a ghost, haunting his own life. The temptation to turn back and retreat into the shadows felt strong, but he resisted. The truth was too compelling. Ethan had already crept into his heart in ways he had never expected. He stood up, determination coursing through his veins. Okay. Let us do this. Just then, Ethan came bouncing back, his cotton candy fluff buckled in both hands. Can we go see the magic show now? Please. Alex chuckled, nodding as he tousled Ethan's hair affectionately. Yeah, buddy. Let us go. As they walked together, Alex felt a newfound sense of excitement coursing through him. The fairground felt different, it felt alive with possibilities. Each laugh he shared with Ethan pulled him closer to the future he had been too afraid to imagine. Ethan, he began, looking down at the little boy, I want you to know I'm really glad you want me in your life. Ethan grinned, his eyes sparkling. You can come to my soccer games, right? And help me with math, too? Absolutely. Alex replied, Feeling his heart swelled as the three of them made their way toward the edges of the fairground. Through a sea of colorful lights and enticing smells, Alex could sense judgment from Daniel lurking in the distance like an uninvited shadow. But he wouldn't let past mistakes haunt him. He was ready to be present, ready to embrace his role. "Hey, Ethan," he added, hesitating for a moment. "There are gonna be tough days, okay? But I promise I'll always do my best for you. Just like we talked about getting a bike. I'm going to be there for all of that." Ethan beamed up at him, his innocent belief filling Alex with warmth. "You're the best, Uncle Alex." Amidst the lights and laughter, Alex found himself buoyed by the dreams shaping themselves in his mind's soccer games, homework, magic tricks. He could feel once shattered pieces of himself slowly coming back together. Sarah watched them, a soft smile lighting up her features. The future felt uncertain but ripe with potential, and the past started to fade like echoes of a distant storm. "Together, we can make it work," she said softly, her voice warm with understanding. The celebration around them intensified, and as the vibrant sounds of laughter enveloped him, Alex felt a sense of belonging, a feeling he had long abandoned for luxury and solitude. He could truly be a father if he chose to step into the light rather than remain buried in darkness. Looking down at Ethan, he thought of how important connections were, how they made life worth living. For too long, he had been afraid of failure, but it was time to let go of that fear and hold on to what mattered most. The evening unfolded with a sense of joy he had forgotten existed. As they reached the front row of the magic show, Ethan squeezed his hand tightly, and in that simple act, Alex knew that this was just the beginning. "Let us make some magic," he breathed, invigorated as the curtain began to rise. What awaited was a future filled with laughter, love, and the incredible bond between father and son, and it all started now together. Remember to subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this heartwarming ending. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to witness this amazing transformation. You need to support our community.